welcome to the Should I Play This Game podcast for the 9th of September 2024. Steve, you're asleep. Wake up, you prick.
What? What's going on? Try something different.
How are you?
Yeah, right. I don't know how good an idea it is to lean all the way back. Even though this chair is like an XL design chair, I feel like leaning all the way back outside of the part where I lose my balance sometimes and nearly actually think I'm falling over. I don't know if it'll actually hold my weight and not break. So I thought I'd give that a go and then just like, haha. Anyway, what the fuck happened in Tasmania with fucking weather and shit?
Got a bit windy, basically.
Yeah, a bit windy.
No, that was it. There was some. What was it? I read basically because of it was basically a cyclone. It's effectively what we had.
Yeah.
So even though
it was like full blown shitting down and rain and all sorts of stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, like normally, like cyclones are normally associated with the northern part of the country, but it's just
like WA or Queensland.
Yeah, but it's just a cyclone is just high pressure, low pressure interacting in a certain way. So they can happen basically anywhere, but yeah, most people wouldn't see there was. Yeah, but we had one sitting on out the west coast. Started not last week, but the week before that. So yeah, a lot of rain in the north of the state, not so much in the south, but still a crapload. And just fucking windy as hell.
I was gonna say, like, north and south of the state is like a half-hour drive.
No, it's not. But yeah, go on.
I mean, I'm simplifying things and haha. Yeah, that's a good point. But like, yeah, it was like, oh, I'm like sitting there going, wait, I know Graham's away. Is this house still standing?
Yes, it was still standing. Should have that.
That's at least something.
But yeah, it was really like we didn't get in the south where I am. We got gusts into the hundreds, like high 90s into the low hundreds. Up in the northwest, they got, I think the highest I saw was 168 or something the same.
Yeah, shit got battered from everything I was hearing.
So yeah, it was just really, really windy. Which we get probably one a year where it just gets really windy for a bit of time. It's just where we are in the world, basically.
I was going to say, that's the first time I've heard of like a big one over there for at least a while.
It wouldn't normally reach the news like it did because the rain was different this time. Normally they get the rain. The volume of rain we got this time was a bit different.
God was like, I've got a bucket of water. I'm going to pour this shit out over Tasmania and make them have a bath.
But yeah, it was just. But oddly enough, I managed all the flights I had, which I was really not looking forward to.
Oh,
Flying into Hobart Airport and flying out of it the two times is fucking fine. it was quite smooth. So it was really kind of odd. It was actually worse flying into Melbourne Airport, and flying out of Melbourne Airport was bumpier and not as comfortable as flying in and out of Hobart, which is odd. But is what it was. That's the way that all works.
I'd imagine any time you got to fly into Melbourne's probably not something to look forward to. Fuck Melbourne! Let's alienate an entire 7th or like 4th of Australia.
Yeah, let's do.
Wait, that's one of the 4th. That's the 4th of Australia you live in. That's not a good idea.
But no, it was just windy. Still windy today. We are getting, so we've had wait a second, just current look at the weather. There we go.
Weather.
Why can't I find the bloody? Oh, that's what I'm looking for. Observations. That's an after. So gusts haven't been too high so far today. They've been in the 30s and 40s, but yeah, we've had, like, it wasn't unusual to see 70 or 80k gusts for most of. Oh, actually, the highest one was this morning. No, actually, the highest one, sorry, was at 1:47 p.m. So not just a couple of hours ago, basically. And that was.
Wait a minute, that's in like 20 minutes.
No, 1:47. And that was 100. That was 72k. So they are getting high. What's the
It's only been like colder than normal over here.
Yeah.
It was like warm for a bit, and then everyone's like, oh, climate change. And now it's cold for a bit. And I think people are still like, oh, climate change.
Yeah, basically.
And I was like, oh man.
Well, last week we had like, on one of the days, it was like 21 last week. So
yeah,
we
like.
It's just been freaking weird, basically. Always has been. Weather has been weird for quite a while, actually.
Like I said, man, it's climate change.
Like, it's been fairly dry this year. You know, considering we're winter, it's been fairly dry, but yeah, it's just weird.
We've had a few rainy days. Had a good old like thunderstorm and shit at work during the week. That was a weird one. It was like, oh no, there's half an hour left of this class, and I'm like, I don't have to leave. I've got some other people coming in here. You lot, get out. And then laugh. Ha 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 ha. That's about it.
Yeah. So it's just weather. That's all it is. Just weather. But
do you know the weather is gonna get better? Ah!
I assume so.
Can only hope. I mean, it can't. Well, can it get much worse?
I
asked that question, and the ground gets torn asunder, and fucking demons and shit come out.
And the only thing we didn't really get, we got it on the mountain. We didn't get much snow in this one. So that's the only thing we've added to it. If we got snow down to the lower levels, but we got snow into the.
Do you get much snow?
Not down to where I live. No, I get very.
Okay.
I mean, the entire time I've lived here, it's never happened. But there's a mountain that sort of dominates the city called Mount Wellington, and that gets it a lot. So they had some on it last week. By the time I got back from Melbourne, it mostly melted. But yeah, we got that. But yeah, that would probably the only thing that would make it quote unquote worse would be if we decided to snow down to sort of sea level kind of thing, which it did do. God, how many years ago was that? That was 1986, I think it was, 85. It actually snowed.
I was 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah, I was 6 or 7. So yeah, so it basically snowed down to ground level, so people basically could ski to work and stuff. It was that.
Fuck yeah!
So.
See, the funniest thing is, like, on Perth News, when it hails enough to cover grass, like to leave a cover on the grass of like, and it's like, hey, it snowed in WA. And it's like, no, it didn't, you fucking dickheads. I've never seen snow.
Have you? Really?
I mean, I've seen it on pictures and like on the internet.
You never actually physically had snow.
No.
Considering where you live, it makes sense.
Pretty much. I went to America.
No, you wouldn't have seen. Surely it is. No, when you go.
No, I was in Vegas in LA in like summer.
Yeah, not going to see fucking snow there, no.
And Vegas doesn't get snow anytime. California only gets snow at like very specific points.
It can get quite cold in Vegas because of how out in the desert it is.
Desert, yes.
I'm not sure it gets snow that much.
No. We just had people raining like cards for like strip clubs and shit on us when we were walking past. They'd like their flicking of the cards to try and get you to go to like seedy strip clubs, and then in California, people trying to give you CDs, or at least that's what it was. Well, that was over 10 years ago at this point.
Okay.
And you're like, don't take the CDs, put them in your computer, you get a virus.
Anyway, so it's been 3 weeks.
2, isn't it?
Has it actually been 2? When was the last one we had?
Yeah.
We
2 weeks ago.
Didn't actually miss one, did we?
No, just a video week, and I filled that with a game that's on my list.
Oh, so we didn't either. Okay, cool. So, what have you been playing in the last 2 weeks?
Well, I don't want to shock anyone, but I've been continuing to play 9 Souls.
Hey.
I've actually now finished 9 Souls. It took me about, I think the total time on Steam is about 38 hours. About 3 or 4 of it was trying to beat the last boss. So there's actually 2 endings in that game, which I didn't actually realize. And I only missed the actual good ending. Well, there's not a standard ending and a good ending, not a bad one, so that's fine. But I missed one item, essentially, that kicked off like a half-hour chain, and that's the only reason I didn't get the good ending. So the ending you get actually changes the nature of that last boss fight, which is at least. So the version I got was fucked enough. So then I went in and I'm like, all right, I'm going to get this, but there was an achievement for beating the game on standard, which I wanted to get. And I'm like, I'm not knocking the difficulty on this. I'm beating this motherfucker. And I did. And I was like, there's not much that happens in this ending. There's good reason, because the actual main of like that standard ending is just, we do this and then, yep, cool. Everything okay, happily ever after. Hooray for me. So then I put it onto story mode to do the last bits and pieces, which is about an extra couple of hours. And then I turned up damage output by 1,000%, and I shrank damage input to 10%. So I could one-shot that end boss with the bow and arrow on each phase. And it just I'm so glad I didn't actually get that on my normal playthrough, because god damn it, the last phase, on the third phase that ends up on for that ending, whew, I can imagine that being fucked. But yeah, it was super satisfying to just go back in and go, hey, guess what? Blah. But man, what a great game. I really, really dug Nine Souls. Probably the hardest game I've played this year. If we're talking about like boss fights and all that sort of stuff, like the boss fights, multiple boss fights I had that were like 2-3 hours trying to beat them. But what? God damn it, so good. Speaking of so good, it's Ghost of Tsushima again. I'm just chipping away at it. I'll play it for a couple of hours after work most days. I played it for about 3, maybe 4 hours before we recorded today on Sunday. Behind the curtain. But yeah, it's like sometimes I'll like pursue some of the side stories. Sometimes I'll just go, hey, there's a question mark on the map. Let's go to it. And then get distracted by a bunch of things on the way. But that game's pretty great. I don't know if you know this. You can cut people with swords.
That's generally what swords do.
Yeah, pretty much. And fuck, you can get it to a point where it cuts them pretty good too. Even more of a surprise. I played more of Rack and Slay.
Do you get upgrades for the sword or something to become more powerful?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, the sword becomes more damaging.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. So you don't get better swords, you just upgrade the current one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not much in the way of loot. It's more the armor sets that come out of specific story missions or story chains that you follow. And they're sort of legendary pieces of armor or tied to certain factions or certain main storylines. Like when I was trying to do Act 1, there was a main quest line that ended up with me getting a new armor set that I was supposed to wear. I wore it for a little bit and then went back to the one I've got because I like the one I've got. But more Rack and Slay. I have now got all of the achievements yet again. I went through the challenges that they added, did all of those. This game is, I really, really like this game. It's just such a nice, you know how pool's just super pleasant to play?
Yep.
And it's like just a nice way to spend time just chilling. It's this, but instead of like sinking just normal balls, you're sinking enemies that are trying to kill you. And then you're like, fuck you, and kill them. Anti-paint. How the hell did I hear about this? I don't even know. Like trying to trace like some of the sourcing for how I hear about some of these games is, I don't know. It pops up somehow. This is, initially I thought it would be a Vampire Survivors like. It's not. It's a dual joystick shooter. Kind of, there is a bit of a Geometry Wars vibe to it. But instead of shapes, it's paint.
Okay.
So like when you kill enemies, they'll splush paint and it'll create like an artistic design. And then you eventually get through to a boss fight and it's some weird, like a figure almost from famous art paintings or meant to replicate famous art paintings. and it's just a dual stick shooter, and you're just shooting people with paint to create these art pieces, but you don't obviously cover the canvas because that would take way too long. And the different paintbrush types are your different weapons. So a big broad brush like this one in the key art is sort of shotgun-like.
Okay, yep.
Where it's a bit slow, but it has some spread. There's a semi sort of machine gun assault rifle vibe and sort of a sniper rifle or marksman rifle type single shot. Things like that. It's cool. I think it was less than $10, I think, when I bought it. Yeah, I bought it and then I played it for a bit and I haven't played it since. And I don't know if I will play any more of it. It's neat. Some of the boss fights were a bit messed up. And they just took ages too. The just damage spongy sort of bosses, which sometimes is a real motherfucker. But anyway, it's neat enough. A game that I actually am surprised at how much I enjoyed is New Star GP. Now, those who have watched the Saturday special of Friday Night Fun know that that's a show where I mainly sort of focus on what I like to call project games, where I'll play them for a bit and then I'll just keep playing them on the Saturday show. So right now it's this, something else I'll get to in a sec, Fashion Police Squad, and Thymesia. Now, I didn't play any Thymesia on the Saturday show this week because I played other stuff. But it's got an arcadey sort of spin on Formula One racing, and it puts you in like a career. Oh, okay. So there's a hot lap where you can get a feel for the course. There's not qualifying, but there's events that sort of fill the qualifying sort of space, but it doesn't affect your grid position.
Okay, yep.
So main Grand Prix races during the career are 6 laps, and you've got 9 other races on the track, including you. But before each race, you're setting your pit strategy. So you could go a 2-pit strategy on soft tires, and you're fueling up every time. Or every time so far, I've gone 1 stop on hard tires. And you're getting the currency you get over the course of winning the races. You're either upgrading parts on your car. You get a different currency, which is trophies, which you can use to pick perks for different team members. So like your chief engineer, communications manager, and there's another one I can't remember off the top of my head. But the driving is just enough on the arcade side, or just nudging towards the arcade side enough to make it actually really fun to play. And it's not overly punishing. There are rewinds in it. You get 3 per race. I've never used them. Some of the win conditions, you get more trophies and more of the other currency for not using the rewind, so I haven't had to use it yet.
Yep.
But I really like the art style, the sort of low polygon art style. It runs really well, which, comparing it to Hot Shot Racing, which was a Saturday special project, that was stuttering all over the place.
Okay.
Which was weird. But I'm really enjoying this. This is really fun. And it brings me back to just enough of my memories of watching F1 on TV without having to be laser focused and super sim like the Codemasters F1 games.
Yeah, yep.
But, it's fun. Less fun. Wait, that's not the right... Okay, never mind. Marble Abduction, Patty Hatu. So, you are a detective named Patrick who wears a hat, and you are kidnapped by aliens who don't really speak English.
Okay.
Hence the Patty Hatu, because they don't know how to pronounce your name properly, and you've got a hat, so that's the only distinguishing feature. They put you in a ball and make you run experiments in Earth-like environments, and it's basically like Super Monkey Ball.
Oh, okay.
But not, or at least from my memory of Super Monkey Ball, because it doesn't feel particularly great to play, because I always felt like I was on the wrong side of being out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Like trying to actually pick up speed and momentum, but then trying to rapidly stop, change direction. The changing of direction didn't feel precise enough or feel like sort of direct enough. It was always just fighting against it just enough to make it fucking annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And then trying to balance the level design with their timer, because they've got a progression system where you get out of 3 stars, 1, 2, 3 stars for the time it takes to finish a level.
Mm-hmm.
There is, like, obviously the best time is 3 stars. There's an even better time, which is an S star. But like, it always felt like it was just like the 3-star time felt very like almost. It didn't feel like it was really taking into account what the game is actually, or how the game is built and the physics around the game.
Mm-hmm.
It was always just tight, almost too tight, to the point where it's like, fuck you. Like, to be absolutely flawless. But then it ended up introducing like hidden stars in each level that it expected you to pick them up and still hit the finish line in a time to get 3 stars. And it sort of felt like it was designed to pad the game out. I really should have played the demo for this before I bought it. What a dickhead. I don't remember Monkey Ball feeling this frustrating and this sort of heavy. Like, the ball has a real heaviness to it that trying to actively, and like the level designs are very tight and very sometimes narrow pathways that make trying to navigate them with this very heavy feeling ball really kind of hard and annoying. So it just sort of bothered me way more than I wanted it to. And like, I probably could figure out and get my head around it and get progress my way through it and 3-star everything and all that sort of stuff, but I don't want it. I've got other things that are way more deserving of my time. So like, yeah, this, like, on its surface, it seems really neat. You get into it though, and it doesn't quite hold up its end of the bargain. Which is a shame, because its core conceit of like being a dude named Patrick who wears a hat and gets like kidnapped. That's pretty cool. But yeah, it drops the ball when you play it. Speaking of games that drop the ball when you play it, Megacopter, Blades of the Goddess. This might be one of the dumbest setups for a game I've ever seen, ever. You are a pilot. Your name is Jack Copter. You pilot the Megacopter, which is a sentient helicopter that's also a goddess that runs on blood and gets stronger by consuming the hearts of his or her willing subjects that are on altars hidden through the level, that you then use the winch to grab their heart out through their chest, and then you can upgrade the helicopter.
Right.
Yep, it's fucking ridiculous. Like, the setup is basically the best thing about it. That and the name Jack Copter. A lot of the characters in the game, like the writing behind the game, have a real weird obsession with pizza.
Okay.
Which is really, really weird. Like, it just comes up in the dialogue sometimes, like, yay, pizza party! And it's like, what the fuck? Like, do you just, like, never get to eat pizza? I mean, the developer is Pizza Bear Games, which is also the name of the pizza restaurant in the game. So that's weird. So, they're meant to have taken... Did you ever play, like, the Desert Strike, Jungle Strike, those EA helicopter games back in the Mega Drive days?
Yeah. I know of them. I didn't play a lot of them, but I know of them, yeah.
Yeah, me too. So this is meant to be taking inspiration from that. Now, if they're taking inspiration from that and this is how those games played, what the fuck? So, like, you get an aiming reticle. So the left trigger or left bumper shoots air, the right bumper or trigger shoots ground.
Okay, yep.
All right, with me? So you have an aiming reticle on the ground. Now, you can move it, obviously, around in a radius around your helicopter, but you also use the right stick to move it up and down, to move it, obviously, up and down within a certain range. That's how you target enemies on the ground. But if there's a lot of enemies around and they're all shooting the shit out of you, trying to actively get the finickiness behind the reticle to try and be able to actually shoot things really gets in the way, particularly like a few levels in. It was just, oh, I'm getting shot, shit, up, and now I've blown up. Ah, shit. So it's like it's such a fantastically dumb conceit of like Jack Copter, this goddess that's also a helicopter that runs on the blood of human sacrifices, and then they fuck it up by when you play it.
Was this shown somewhere recently?
Not necessarily recently. I heard about it on a Nextland, a Planorama, I think.
Have you played it before? It looks vaguely familiar.
I haven't played it before. At least I don't think I have.
It just looks familiar. Was it in a like a sizzle reel at some point recently or something?
Could have been. Nothing was ringing a bell with me.
God, it looks familiar.
The other part that's sort of interesting about this is the absolute cliff of a player drop off within the first hour.
Okay.
So, like, when you look at the achievements for a game, it doesn't give you, obviously, the best indication of how many people have played it, but you get a percentage. 38-ish% of people got the achievement for killing the first boss in the game. That takes place an hour in.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the sheer cliff drop that occurs from start, which I think you get an achievement for either booting the game up or selecting new game. Mm-hmm. So 100% of players have that. And then the absolute just drop to about a third. Which, yeah. But it's so fantastically stupid that I wish it played so much better than it did. But never mind. We can't always get what we want.
Yeah, we're just looking at SteamDB for that game. The all-time peak 3 months ago is 32 players, so it hasn't had a lot of sales. I think.
I mean, it is an independent sort of like strike-influenced helicopter shoot 'em up. It's never going to be a big seller.
No, of course not. No.
It's like a niche of a niche.
Yeah. God, it looks familiar though. I'm just not sure where I've seen it. Maybe I've seen it. I don't know.
I fucking hate it when that happens.
I can't think where I've seen it. Because like you're picking up the players, all the little characters and stuff, and all the art style. And
the
stuff.
winching and all that.
Yeah, just looks familiar. Maybe I played it. I don't know. I can't remember.
Doesn't seem like your sort of game.
No, it doesn't really. But
but there have been like helicopter games that have that isometric view with the winch and all that sort of stuff for the last 30 years. No, it's not just the strike games; they're just the most well known.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
Yeah. Super Spec Rallycross. I found out that this is on sale for $12 on Steam. I bought it on release because I thought it looked really neat, and I like the recent sort of influx of varying retro-themed or retro-styled rally games is really cool because they have so many different variants of it, and rally driving is one of the few sort of menu-based racing games I actually don't mind and actually like playing because it's not super simmy, but there's that edge of control. There's a bit of arcadiness to it, and this is just a really small, like neat little isometric arcade style rally game. It has a really neat look. The rally cars look like Micro Machines. Remember them?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yeah, Micro Machines are cool as shit. It's really fun to play as well. With the exception of getting 2 achievements, which is for winning all the Grand Prix on the higher 2 difficulty levels. I got all the achievements in an hour. But like for the price, I'm not like I think it's on sale normally for about $18. I'm not expecting overwhelming levels of depth. It's just a neat, fun little arcade racing game. Parking Garage Rally comes out in a couple of weeks too, which, oh god, that looks good. So I'm playing this on its harder difficulties on the Saturday show as well. Now, I did that last night or on the Saturday night, on Saturday's show. That works. So 2 different types of driving, F1 and rally. Because why wouldn't you? Last, but absolutely not least, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 I played the multiplayer beta last weekend,
Mm-hmm.
which I did the checkout for. That's up on YouTube. As it turns out, you didn't need to pre-order to get into the early weekend because if you have Game Pass Ultimate, you got it then.
Mm.
Um, I I actually really quite enjoyed what I played. They've got their omnidirectional movement is what they're calling it, so you can sprint in like any direction. But like you could always technically sprint if you held the stick up and to the left. But like if you just hold left and press sprint, you'll literally go running sideways.
Okay.
And you can do the dolphin dive all these different ways too. So you can do the full blown action star, kick back, fall backwards, and land on your back and just bust shots off.
Okay.
Which was really funny seeing people do that during the beta. And it feels like one of the things that I haven't dug about most more Call of Duty games, probably since Advanced Warfare, is the time to kill. It just feels like you turn a corner sometimes and then brap, you're dead.
Mm.
This extends it just enough where like it'll give you the stats on screen where it's like damage 100, hit 4 or 5 times, but it doesn't feel that quick. Like it feels just that little bit more survivable where you can take a few hits and still drop someone. I thought this was really quite fun. I only played it for, excuse me. Like when these betas happen, I tend not to play them for massively long periods of time. It's literally A, see if I can get a video out of them, and B, see if I'm interested in playing the full version. I feel like continuing to play it over and over and over until you hit like the beta level cap or whatever, all that progress is wiping when you get to the main game. So I don't 100% see the point. I get why some people might do it because they really like Call of Duty and they want to play the new one. Awesome. Go for your life. But for me, it's like, okay, do I like this enough? Will I spend some time playing this? I want to when it comes out, but I also don't want to just sink hundreds of hours into Call of Duty multiplayer. And then lose a bunch of time to play other things. But yeah, I was surprised at how fun it actually was and how much I enjoyed it. But yeah, that's what I played. I got some must listens, but we'll do them later. What about you, bruv? What have you played?
What have I played?
Well, I mean, I know what you've played because I saw the list, but still.
Yeah, still playing Satisfactory. That game is
out this week.
Out next week on Wednesday morning, early Wednesday morning our time, my time I should say. I might do a video that night. I might wait the weekend. Haven't decided yet, depending how the work day goes. But yeah, I'm basically just at the point where I'm now waiting just for 1.0 to come out, and then I'll do more content after that. So.
Has there been much talk from the mod makers about how they're navigating that 1.0 release?
Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one because normally in the past, when they've done the releases, they've done the release into early access, into the experimental branch first, which then gives the mod makers enough chance to look at that, fix the mods, so they're going to work when that update goes out to the early release branch of the thing. But they haven't done that this time. This game's going straight to. There's no 1.0 in experimental. It's going straight to the other branch, basically, the public branch, I guess you call it. So I suspect that most of the, if not all of the mods that I use will break basically immediately, which I'm expecting to, which is fine. They always do. Some will be quick to fix, I guess. Some might take a bit longer. So yeah, so I'll probably end up. I think what I'll end up doing leading into the release is to create a save that is a mod-free save. There's none of the mods active on it, and then see what it's like just to poke around in the update once it's out, and probably not do much, or maybe not even save it. I'm not too sure yet. They have done a bunch of like pre-release trailers and stuff like that leading into the 1.0, and they've got 2 new machines. They're using quantum technologies now, the new thing, so you can do all sorts of crazy stuff where you can actually make you can sort of even just change one material into another material altogether, sort of thing, to make. So they use quantum technology to do it. So yeah, they've got some.
Does that actually exist in the real world?
No, it doesn't. No, you can't turn. No, This isn't.
I'm not science-minded, man. Come on, give me a break.
But yeah, so they've got stuff like that, and they've got
Toilets.
new materials. They've got flushable toilets. New materials, and they've got a new space elevated project phase to do, which no doubt will require all this quantum stuff to be able to do it. Yeah, so they've done a lot of little neat little things. I think that are just gonna be worth looking at when that comes out. Whether that's worth me playing with the way I play with all the mods I've got on is worth playing initially with those mods not active. Not too sure. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see when that gets released. But yeah, I'll probably end up doing. I think I'll probably do something quick and dirty on the Wednesday night after I've gone home from work or whatever. Play it for a bit just to poke around in the update and see what it's like, and then leave it for a week or so until the various mods come back online that make it easier to play. So not all those are strictly needed because some of the mods I've had in the past I don't need anymore because they've actually put that functionality into the game, sort of thing. But
that's all right.
Yeah, so some of them I still do. So,
is the game's campaign basically done?
Well, that's
or is 1.0 like where the campaign kicks?
Well, there's no campaign per se. The campaign is building the items for the space elevators is the game's goal, you could say. So the fact that if you played it up until so far and you've done all the ones so far, you've only got a new one to do when they get 1.0 comes out. There's going to be more lore in it, I think, from what they've been saying. How that manifests in the game, I'm not really sure. So, yeah, I'm not too sure how it's all going to play out, really, but I'm curious to see what it is, just for curiosity's sake, but, yeah. Yeah, I'm not too sure what it's going to be. Anyway.
Game of the year.
I played a couple of hours of Star Wars Outlaws.
That doesn't make it sound like you really dug it that much.
No, I have. I like it. I don't know
how okay. I was trying to read your vocal inflection to see if you dug it or not.
I was just trying to say the name properly so I don't tongue Star Wars Outlaws. I've played probably 3 hours of it so far, I reckon. It's an interesting mix of sort of game types in there, I guess. You've got like your main characters you probably know from the various cover artists or from the various, what's I'm looking for?
Trailers.
Marketing about the game is you've got
marketing. There you
go. Is the female character in front there?
K-Vess.
K-Vess, I think her name is K something. And she's basically just a scoundrel. I think they might even call her. I'm not sure what
that is. Called. Yep.
I think it's what they call her.
She's like Han Solo.
Yeah, basically she's one of those sort of characters. That little character, that little creature on her shoulder is Nyx. He's got a particular name for what he is. I can't remember what he is off the top of my head, but he's that. You basically control him to a degree. As you're wandering around the environment, you can hold, is it left bumper, right bumper, one of the two, and you can then direct him to do things like he can go and fetch items, he can go and steal items, he can go and distract enemies and stuff like that. He can actually straight attack enemies, not to the point where they'll get hurt by him, but it's enough to distract them enough for you to get close and do melee stuff on them. She's got melee combat, so she's just good old straight up punching. She's got a pistol, which you can see holding the cover out there. You've got stealth, so you can crouch around and be quiet. You can hide in grass. So it's pinching like similar what a lot of games have done, where you like Horizon Zero Dawn probably did this kind of the best. Like, is it pitched all these different aspects of different gameplay mechanics from Assassin's Creed. It's been the main sort of inspiration of what they've done, but they've got a pretty decent combat. Like, the gunplay is pretty decent from what I've done of it so far. And the story is, I mean, as I've only been 2 or 3 hours into it, I can't really say on it, but um, I think she's a pretty. I like her as a character. I think she's pretty neat.
Mm.
Um, being said earlier, I can't tell you what the whole thing's going to be in terms of story, but other characters are pretty interesting as well. The acting overall is quite solid. Um, just leading up, just the bit I played last night was the more open world aspect of it, I guess you'd say. Up until that point, it had been incredibly linear
Mm.
in the early parts of the game, um, and I just got a hold of a sort of like a speeder that I could ride on, um, and then I managed to somehow get it stuck on a piece of the environment. And I don't know how to get it off, and I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. So like open world jank stuff.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. So you got sort of stuck in it. So that's that's good to see, kind of thing, in a weird way that can happen. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it. I'm just not sure at this point whether I would want to play a lot of it in big chunks, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it's a game that I would play in smallerish chunks just to progress a bit of the story. Because I think I got a feeling, even though it's got this open world nature, I think it's still going to be relatively linear. I think in the way I'm not too sure that the open world stuff is going to be a distraction as it can be in other games
Mm.
that are of that type. Mind you, I haven't seen any of what that activity will be, so I could be, by the time we speak again with this, having this played it for another couple of weeks, that might be different. But I'm not seeing anything on the usual open world Ubisoft game. We haven't seen anyone, given you're saying earlier with Ghost of Tsushima, where you have a question marks on the map. There's been nothing of that so far.
Oh.
Not to say that there won't be, but there's been none of it so far.
Mm.
And that's what's sort of making me wonder if, even though it's this open world, parts of it open world,
How open is the open world?
how open is it? What are you doing in that open environment? Are you
Mm.
doing question mark hunting? Have you got a vomiting of icons on the map that you just got to go?
Yeah. Is it a map game?
Yeah, is it one of those sort of things where you've just got a crap load of things on the map to go and do, but don't actually have to do any of them theoretically? There doesn't appear to be, from what I've seen so far, any sort of leveling up. Like there's no XP or anything like that to increase your gear in any way. So as I've seen, that's
My understanding is it's mainly skill points.
I haven't even seen any of that yet, so I'm not so sure where that kicks
Oh.
into it either. So as I said, I'm not really sure what the progression is going to be yet. I haven't played it long enough for that stuff to open up yet. Would be my assumption. But from what I've played of it, it looks really good in parts. So I'm enjoying it. I'm just not too sure I'm going to get into it big time like I did with the
Horizon.
With Horizon, which is, I think, is the big one of sort of a similar.
Yeah, that was, you had about 120, 130 hours in that off the top.
Yeah, because I played the DLC that came with it, which added another 20 or so. But yeah.
Have you hit any of the stealth yet?
The only stealth I've had is there was a section I played last night where I was sneaking through, tall grass, for want of a better term, and I could basically crouch down into it and be hidden, even though you really shouldn't be hidden. That's what video games do that.
Yep.
And then once once the enemy walks past you, you walk out, you
punch
him, and you can basically melee. You can sort of silent strike them down, sort of thing. So they don't. So that's been the only. That whole section was probably the biggest of that. So yeah, you can sneak around stuff. You can sneak it behind dudes and take a melee strike and take them out, like take them down, sort of thing. You can also just run up straight up in front of them, just hit them a bunch of times so they go down. So, and if everything, I mean, the thing that I've liked about it so far is that it seems that you can start. And this is not anything unique to it, so it's not as if it's doing anything new. But you can go into a thing. Oh right, I'm going to stealth through this as much as I can. But if it goes to shit, you pull out your blaster and you blast your way through, and it's all fine. So it's able to sort of go between those two methods relatively seamlessly and not be too janky when it does it. And So, um, yeah, I think as I said, I'm enjoying the bit of it, played of it so far. So I think, yeah, I'll definitely keep going back to it. I'm
Just the
intrigued by this.
extent you want to commit to an open world.
Yeah, well, that's part of it too, and I think once I played enough to know what that open world's going to be,
Mm.
that's maybe when I might go, oh shit, I don't want to do one of these right now. I'll put it on hold, or I might go, no, this is
Apparently, this
fine.
one is a bit more reasonable on that tip, though. It's not. It's like
That's what I've
30-40.
that's what I've heard. So that's what I'm sort of thinking. I don't think it's going to have the same kind of level of that stuff that Horizon got, even like a division from Ubisoft as
Mm.
well. So um, I think that's probably where it's probably going to sort of more be in line with. It's going to be a bit of a hybrid between when I started playing it, I thought, gee, I'm getting um what's the game? God, I had a brain tease. It was Nathan Drake. Name escapes me. Fuck,
Oh,
Uncharted.
Uncharted.
Uncharted vibe from it for the way that it was sort of playing.
I mean, Nathan Drake is basically your prototypical scoundrel.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I was talking about not never the character. I'm talking more the gameplay of how you are sort of
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah,
how,
yeah.
how you're sort of getting around the world. Like you've got the ability to sneak around, you've got the ability to go all guns blazing. You're doing climbing, and bit of platforming sort of thing, jumping across rooftops, that kind of stuff. So I got more of it. It's more of a vibe to that than Assassin's Creed,
Mm.
where you've got open. So I think that's kind of where it's at so far. That may change by the time we speak again, but um, and that's kind of think it's kind of cool.
Mm.
It's not an open world, like not a traditional open world game like Horizon or even another Assassin's Creed game. It's a
It's
bit
not a
more,
map vomit.
yeah, it's a bit more linear in parts, but does have open world sections. But I think you probably could do linear, I suspect. But I don't know. As I said, I mean, it's sort of a bit on the fence about it because I just don't really know what it's going to do. But
Mm.
what I've played of it so far, I have enjoyed a lot of. So yeah, so far we'll see
I
what
am
that's.
curious to hear what, like, when we sit down to do this in a couple of weeks, how whether or not that thought has changed or how it goes along with. Did you see much in the way of reviews around this?
No, I didn't. I try and avoid reviews for the most part now,
Mm.
leading into games. I want to play them as my own terms rather than have my judgment, perception clouded before I jump into a game. So I think I read some headlines, but that's as far as I took it.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, I am curious to see where it's going to go. I mean, if you look at, like as I said, it does look pretty damn
It
decent.
looks really quite
Looks
nice from everything I've seen.
looks really nice. I don't think it's got any.
What are you playing it on?
I'm playing on PC, so I'm playing on the
Yeah,
Ubisoft Premiere Plus, whatever that
Connect.
thing's called. Um, so yeah, it's got. I've had one bit where I flew a ship, but it wasn't very much. So so it does look really
Mm.
quite good. Um,
Apparently, PC is the place to play that thing because like its
oh, I can
performance
imagine.
on console's not great.
Yeah, I mean I've not had any issues performance wise. That's been obvious on the PC, which I'd like to think based on what I've got it would better cope with this. It's not going to be high end
Mm.
like yours is, but it's going to be good
Oh,
enough.
you've still got a 3090,
I've got a
80 or
3080,
3090. I can't remember what
3080
you
Ti.
got.
I think I've got. Yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah, it's not going to do a
that's
4K.
no fucking slouch.
No, it's not. So as I said, I would expect it to be pretty decent, but yeah,
You should get at least a little bit of ray tracing with 4K 60.
yeah, I thought so. Yeah, but yeah, as I said, I'm enjoying it so far. Still playing Steam World Heist. I attempted to play this on the. I did actually try and play this on the Ally, um, and it was successful in terms of it was
Oh,
playable. It was 35 frames a second for the most part, so it was playable. The biggest issue was though I played it. I could not play it on the plane because it's an always online thing.
oh!
So the minute I tried to play it, it said no, you're not online. You can't play this. Ah, fuck you.
I think you're allowed to have internet connected devices on planes now.
Oh, I can't be bothered connecting the freaking Ally to it. No, I can't be
Yeah,
bothered.
okay,
I'm
fair
not
point.
paying for it. No, I can't bother doing that. So most of the time I played on the plane was Steam World Heist. Tweet
Mm.
2. So I'm still playing through that. I'm enjoying it a lot still. So not much really to add to it. I've had the first sort of mission that's actually beat my ass. Because they've got an interesting concept in that game where each of the characters has effectively, I think, I'm not sure can't remember what term they use, but essentially it's like a specialty that character is always like a grunt or a melee only, like that sort of skill set. And this level required me to change what they did. So what you can basically do with the game is with your characters, into your loadout, you can change essentially how they play very, very dramatically. And because I've been playing with these particular characters a certain way, they then make me change it. I got my ass kicked the first one to do this. I couldn't figure out how to play with them differently first of all I've been playing with them before. So it's an interesting mechanic. I'm not too sure I like it, but yeah, obviously I'll need to if I want to progress.
Maybe you don't necessarily have to engage in it. Just
no, yeah, they force you to change them. You have to do it.
Oh, motherfuckers!
Yeah, so you have to literally the games the loadout screen says you cannot do this. You've got to change them.
Oh.
So I don't really like the fact that it forces you. I think it's obviously introducing a mechanic or making you use the mechanic to help understand how it works. But if that's the only time they do it, then cool. But if they force you to do it multiple times, it could get a bit
Probably
irritating.
just surfaces it to let you know it's an option.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it's. I hope that's what it's for, and they don't keep doing it a couple of times, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm enjoying that game a lot so far. Last one on my list is, I think we talked about this last week as well. This time it's release. It's the Sumerian 6.
Ally?
Sorry?
Did you play it on the Ally?
Played on the Ally a little bit. It was fine. Like, no issues there at all. But yeah, I've been playing this mainly since I've been back. So yeah, it's, well, as we discussed a couple of weeks ago, it's basically
fucking hell of Mimimi.
It's really quite good. I think it's not quite as polished as the other games are, but then they had what 3 or 4 or 5 games to get that right, you could say. Because they had the 2 Desperados 3, Shadow Tactics,
Shadow Gambit
was 3. They did other games before that. They had Desperados,
the Ninja one,
which name is good. Anyway, so yeah, so they've done they've had 2 or 3 games, big releases from Mimimi to do this. So this is probably not missing stuff. It's just not the same, which is fine.
Yeah. Just a few quality of life things and stuff, perhaps.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, I was reading in the various forums on it on Steam that this is done in Unreal, whereas Mimimi did their stuff in Unity apparently. So
really,
yeah, apparently according to the dev of this game, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which surprised me because I thought it would have because it's all the same. Like, it looks the same.
It doesn't look like a Unity game.
No, exactly. That's my point.
So trying to actively go, what the fuck does a Unity game look like?
Yeah, you sort of know it when you look at one sort of thing, but hard to describe one.
Yeah, it says Unity on the splash screen.
Well, there's that too, but but they don't have to do that anymore. Or some, yeah. Yeah. So basically, I've played. It's whereas unlike Shadow Gambit, which had going back to the same places and just doing it a different method with a different context and story reason to why you were there.
Yeah, different. Yeah.
This has got and while you in between those, you're on the Red Marley doing loyalty stuff, effectively character-based stuff. There's none of that in this, and I don't think there will be. I suspect this will be a very linear mission, outro of previous mission, intro to new mission, repeat. So it'll be incredible.
Oh, okay.
Incredibly linear, which basically is what.
So the interstitial stuff in between to build out the narrative, build the character development. Yeah, okay.
So you do a bit of stuff during the missions. You'll do the odd. I can't remember what the term would be, like just lore discussions in the middle of missions, but that's as far as it sort of goes. So it's probably more in line with how Desperados 3 played, which was like that. You have a mission.
Yeah, there wasn't much. Yeah,
there was very little. Like, there was no character stuff at all beyond what the story delivered in this thing.
I think I only got like 2 missions in.
Yeah, I mean,
Desperados 3.
Yeah, so there's nothing in there was nothing, like, he just went mission all in a row, which is fine because the story that they strung that together was really, really solid. Whereas in Shadow Gambit, the story is really good, but it was the one which it was just delivered because of all that other stuff in between was disjointed. So it was kind of hard to get a bit of a through line through it. So I think I prefer this method of storytelling, or mission design, whatever you want to call it, mission progression, whatever you want to call it. So it just means you're doing stuff, in a sort of more, not logical is not the right way to term, but that sort of, it just makes sense in the way that the story is progressing. So the first two missions, or the first mission is basically the same as the demo. If you play the demo, you've done the first mission, where you're going down to that gondola ride to get onto the gondola thing, and then meeting up with the sister in the next part of it. The second mission in the demo, which I didn't finish. I don't know if there's a third one, but you're then trying to get hold of get in contact with a character called Rosa. I started playing.
I can't remember if I know I got to. Sorry, I met up with the sister, but then that was about all I could figure out. I got to a bridge, and then I was like, "Oh fuck! I've tapped out this type of gameness."
So there's a second mission in the demo. Was it the third one? I don't know. I haven't played the demo through, and I probably never will. So the second, basically, it's the same missions as what's in the first game, in the game itself. So I'm now on to the fourth mission, and I think there's only maybe 9 or 10. So there's not a lot by the sounds of it. So I don't really want to know how many there are either. So I'm just curious about it. But
I'm just more satisfying my own sense of inherent curiosity.
So you can see on the cover art there, we've got the
there's a fucking bear.
Well, that's him. I was just going to explain him. He's a character you play as. So this game has got supernatural sci-fi stuff to it. So the abilities, as you probably recall from the game, the demo, if you played it, you've got the ability to sort of hitch a ride with enemies and sort of that's one of the abilities that
that I accidentally misunderstood and fucked up.
That Sid, the main, that character there's got. He's got that ability. Rosa, which is this woman to the left here, she is, I think, overpowered. She's got the ability.
I'll fix it.
Well, they can't. It's built into the story, so they really can't.
Sweet.
So she's got 4 abilities. She's got this one that she can basically, I can't remember what term they use it, stun link or something like that, I think it's called, where you can basically connect yourself telepathically to a enemy, and they just freeze them in place, and they don't move, they don't do anything. Which basically means you can walk past them, you can walk up to them, kill them, sort of thing. They just stand around like stun mullets. So you've got that. She's got another ability that allows her to throw basically a poison gas bomb sort of thing that makes the person walk in the other direction. So you can use that to plant it, and they then walk in the other direction. You can then kill them, sort of thing. Her big one though, she's got I think it's literally called Human Bomb. So she can attach a bomb to an enemy, and as they walk around, she can then detonate it wherever she wants to. And so by doing that, you can basically attach the bomb to an enemy. I don't like human. And then they can then walk to a group of people, and with 4 other people, you can detonate and all 4 of them will blow up. Yeah. So it's quite powerful to use. It's obviously got a cooldown, but it's not particularly long.
How does that dumbass not know he's got a bomb attached to him?
I don't know. Games, I guess. Video games.
Video games.
It's
the answer for every question.
Yeah. So I think, and the bear character, I've only just got him in the game in the mission I'm playing now. So he can basically he's basically like the Hulk, but in a bear form. So he can turn from a human into a bear.
And he gets angry?
Well, no. Well, I mean, technically, I guess, yeah, but it's just a skill he's got.
Fucking Nazis, rah!
So
there's your title.
Yeah. So his skills is to turn into that big bear character, because there are enemies in this mission that our smaller normal human people cannot take down. So, but he can, just by meleeing them, he just rips them apart basically. The other thing that Rosa, the one on the left, can do, she can dissolve bodies. So they basically dissolve.
Fuck yeah.
So in that game you've got the sort of mechanic of getting the bodies out the way so they can't be spotted,
Yeah, hiding them in bushes and
hiding in
shit.
bush and stuff. Like she doesn't do that. She just dissolves them into basically nothing. So
Fuck yeah!
so she's quite strong as a character. Whereas the Isabella, who's this character here,
The sister.
she's the sister. She's basically got she can cloak. So basically she can cloak. She's got a lure thing that makes you make particularly, and she's what's that on the ground? They can walk up, you can then take them out.
Walk up and stick 'em.
And then she's also got the one where she can basically swap places with an enemy. So the way you do that is if you set up your brother in the early stages to be where the sister is, you can then swap places with the enemies and then basically take the enemy out with the other guys. So they've all the anyone that doesn't, so they've all got some sort of supernatural ability. And the other two characters in the cover art that I've not come across yet. So I'm not too sure. Yeah, look, you live in. So they are the Sumerian Six. They're like a some sort of.
Oh hey, yeah. I just noticed there were 6 of them.
So they're the actual. I think they might even call them Enigma Squad or something. Like they've got an actual, like they're part of a. I'm not sure they're part of the Allies per se, or they're just an independent group who's decided to go and do stuff. But anyway.
Well, like the sister, like the father, the dude and Isabella's father is a commander in some form of the Allied army.
I think so. I'm not really sure how.
And the dude's got a daddy complex because dad thinks he's he doesn't think he's a piece of shit, but he's a little bit. He's a little bit of a soft boy.
Yeah, and I think they might not even be biological brothers. I think one might be adopted or something. I think there's been indication of that as well. But yeah, so
you're the son my dad always really wanted.
So it's possible that one of these other two characters is the father, and they're part of the 6. I don't know, but
that's it.
So yeah, so it's like I'm intrigued by the story. The characters are pretty neat. The gameplay's the gameplay. We've seen that enough that I'm really enjoying it as well. So just have a look just see if there's any.
Yeah, I found a way to fuck up almost all the use of the powers.
And these screenshots aren't actually correct because it's not laid out the same way now in the current game. But so
we looked at these screenshots last time. Whoop! Everything broke.
Everything broke. Yeah. So don't.
Yeah, we did look at these screenshots last time.
Yeah, we did look at these before. Yeah. Yeah, they don't have. So the other thing too that's interesting, like you can see in the top right-hand corner, you've got the mini-map, of course, but under that you've got the mission objectives. You've also got optional ones as well, which gives you XP. This is the other thing that's interesting with this game is there's XP pickups essentially throughout the mission. So I'm not seeing one on any of these pictures. Let's see if I can.
These screenshots might be sort of early.
Oh, they're definitely not. The layout of the design of the of the HUD is not the same as currently. It's very similar. They've swapped a few things out. So the main character selection is now on the right hand side. Your skill selection is in the bottom left. Everything else is basically the same, but it's not quite. Just trying to see if there's anything. No, they don't. So in the map, you can basically. So with the characters you've got, is for example, so we've got this one's got Sid and Isabella, the bottom two characters in this mission, and in the world in the map will be essentially XP pickups for a specific character.
Oh, it's only for. Oh, okay. It's not universal.
Yeah, so it might be 2 or 3 per character per mission, so to speak. And what that gives you is XP in one of your skills. So it's not just overall XP, it's XP in a particular skill. And I assume it's going to be set each time the same one every time. Actually, you can see one just there where the cursor is.
Okay.
So that's an XP pickup. So if you can get onto it, you can open up and you'll get 150 XP has been the most I've seen, I think, so far. And that'll be in a particular skill. And what that then levels up that skill for the entire game. It's not mission specific. It levels up throughout. It keeps on going through the story. And that gives you the ability to, so for example, that one of Sid's abilities where he can attach himself to an enemy and then detach himself later on, would have, you can cast it from further away. That sort of those sorts of ability pickups. Her cloaking ability, it lasts longer. That sort of thing. One of the ones that the cooldown's quicker. That sort of thing. Some as you even level up, I think you then get sort of cumulative things like might be after level 2 gives you an extra casting ability, so you can cast it further away. Level 3 means you can that ability's there, that perk's still there, but now you can. It's got a 20% cooldown, decrease or whatever, that kind of thing. Not too sure the cooldown decreases are really that useful, because the cooldown is 10 seconds for most of them anyway. So having a 20% decrease in that from 10 seconds to 9 seconds is not really a big difference.
Sometimes 1 second is the difference between life and death on the battlefield.
So not really sure the benefit of that kind of a increase, like that sort of a perk. But there was the things like being able to cast it from longer away and it to last longer. Clearly they're beneficial. I think even ones probably do more damage as well. I don't think I've seen the damage increase one yet, but that may be coming. So yeah, I'm just enjoying that sort of aspect of it, because that's different. The other games, the Mimimi games didn't do that. They were just, the story was what the skills you had, the skills you had. You just got different ones, but don't recall you could upgrade them. Don't think you could. Pretty sure you couldn't. So yeah, I'm digging a lot about what this game is doing. It doesn't do the same thing in terms of at the end of the mission in the Mimimi games you have the little replay thing that happened, top down replay.
Yes, I remember you saying that.
It doesn't do that, which is I like that, so I wouldn't mind. That's probably one thing I'd like to see come back, but yeah, it's not.
It's how Graham paints.
Basically, yeah. I just thought it was really
cool. This is art.
Just really cool to see to do the thing around. It was really neat. But yeah, other than that, like it's really, I'm really really enjoying it. Performance wise, technical wise, no issues, no crashes, nothing like that. So it's landed pretty good from a technical perspective. So yeah, it's been really really an enjoyable playthrough so far. That's all I have. Is just those. And for some reason, all my games started with S. I don't know how that happened, but it's what it is.
Whoa, freaky.
Freaky.
This episode is brought to you by the letter S, the letter F, and the letter U.
I thought you wanted me to shut up, so I'm just not saying anything.
No. Before we hit the beginning of the end, there's only one little thing I need to get this out, Graham.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Nintendo, they had a dual stream last week. I think it was last week. 2 massive things have come out of that. The new, I think it's Digital Eclipse do them. Their Gold series, where they focus on games or developers. Their new project, Tetris Forever. Tetris Battle Gaiden is coming west. It's the only Super Famicom tape I've got. I bought it when I was in Japan. And some bootleg Super Famicom handheld so I could play it. Oh. And there's going to be a Capcom Fighting Collection 2, which has got Capcom versus SNK 2 on it. Which 6 weeks ago on Facebook, I said, release CVS 2, you cowards! Capcom listened to me, and they're bringing it out.
Excellent.
I made that happen. I made it happen. That's about all I've got. But yeah, that Capcom collection is going to have like a couple of the Power Stone games and CVS stuff. So like, yep. So like that. Between Terry Bogard being in Street Fighter 6, SVC Chaos coming out, CVS 2, and a few other Capcom versus SNK games on this collection, they're seemingly coming together a little bit more and being a little bit more willing to work together, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this collection doesn't have rival schools in it. It's got the sequel that came out on Dreamcast, not the actual original one that came out on PlayStation. That makes me sad. But otherwise, let's fucking go.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
beginning and end.
Yeah.
So we have the YouTube channel as always, or has been there for a while now. You've still got your Friday night stuff and your
Friday Night Fun, the Saturday special.
Yes, you've got your stuff. I've had a couple of solar factories go up. When I have to got back to where I was before after my bloody backup loss, save loss, I should say. So yeah, we've got that. We'll probably do it. We'll probably, now that we might be settled down with me actually physically fucking being here, we might get around to doing a checkout video together. For haven't done one for a while together, so we might do one of those. So yeah, you've got some must listens though, you say?
Yeah, I do. To the Grave, good old Australian band, put out Everyone's a Murderer. Very, very good. Very heavy. Very good. Oceano with the album Living Chaos. I haven't really listened, the Oceano I've listened to, I've been like, eh. But this album came out and I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. Body Snatcher, who are touring with Lorna Shore and To the Grave next year, which I have tickets to the WA show, which, yes. They put out their newest EP, Vile Conduct, which is just, it's very, very heavy and very bleh. And one of the bands that were featured on the last episode, they were on a split EP with another band called Sunscourge. Oracle Spectre earlier this year put out an album called Deceivers, which I either didn't know about it or forgot about it, or I don't know, maybe rushed to judgment, which sounds like something I would do. That album is fucking good. I am dreading trying to pick music of the year this year. I've got at least 4 EPs that I really want to go, yo, these are dope. And there's still whispers of a new Infant Annihilator album coming out this year. And the new Fit for an Autopsy is out before the end of October. So, man, some good shit, y'all. Some good shit. All actually deathcore this time around, too. There are a couple of other albums where I was like, these are, but I haven't listened to them enough. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Go listen to them if you like the... Even if you don't. Go put some hair on your chest and listen to some fucking man's music. I got nothing else.
Okay, cool. So you'll have a Friday night fun tonight, or this week coming up.
This week coming.
This coming, you'll do one of those.
I forgot to mention something.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of weeks ago, AEW did their all-in pay-per-view from Wembley Stadium. Mm-hmm. During the week, ESPN did a full-blown ad-free replay of it.
Okay.
That was weird, so I watched that. That was great. And ESPN also left swearing in on AEW Dynamite when Bryan Danielson said that Jack Perry was going to get his fucking head kicked in. I was like, whoa, ESPN left the fuck word in there? Great. Anyway, yes, twitch.tv/enemy starship for Friday Night Fun and for the Saturday special. I've got some things lined up for that, and I've got something really stupid and really awful that I'm going to subject myself to. I just need to figure out when I want to pull the trigger on that one.
Okay.
But it'll be funny for other people to watch. Hopefully. Because if it's not, what the fuck's the point?
Yeah, and we'll probably do a checkout video together. That's next weekend as well. I'm not sure what that would be. Not sure what. We'll talk about that offline, but I'm not sure what that game will be. And we're back in a fortnight for episode 307 of the Should I Play This Game podcast. But until then, thanks very much for watching, listening, and we'll be back in a fortnight. Goodbye.